Unite the beards!
Intimacy certainly is an art. It's not a mechanical performance. And we're not told that. We're not told that. We're given mechanical advice, we're given pills, we're given... it's horrendous. Not to mention what that does to children. Children born from an artificial intimacy are not given the best head start on life. Why all of a sudden every child has ADD? Is it possible that it's because when they were created, the parents weren't paying attention?
Or they weren't there. Yeah. Or they weren't there, they weren't I mean,
well, there are no distractions in a Petri dish. If the television is on,
right,
and you're being intimate,
oh, yeah, you're talking about something much more.
And some part of your brain is hearing
fully there, the product
what's
of that
going
isn't fully there either.
Yeah, so now your kid is sitting in class and his mind is a little bit elsewhere. Huh, guess why? He was created with half a brain. So it is literally true. David Letterman has more children than anybody else in the world. Oh, maybe not. Jay Leno. I don't know. It's a competition there. You don't want to introduce an ingredient into the child making that doesn't belong there. So, for example, being intimate when you're angry, and it's just why would you want to be intimate if you're angry? Dominance? Prove a point? That's not an ingredient you want to make a baby with. Here's what makes it confusing. We use the analogy of eating. You eat when you're hungry, legitimately. You're really hungry and you're eating real food. And it tastes good too. Now I'm confused. That confuses me. So am I eating for my stomach, or am I eating for the... You can get lost in that. And the same is true with intimacy. There's a pleasure there that is intimate, and then there's pleasure. So there's always going to be the experience or the sensation of pleasure. The objective is make sure it's the pleasure of the intimacy.
Yeah, that's the focus.
Not the distracting pleasure.
Right.
So it's not like there should be no pleasure. Yeah. That's ridiculous. You create a child without pleasure, you're creating a real miserable kid. A kid who doesn't know how to find pleasure in life and is not good. In fact, it's not even healthy. Children created out of a relationship without pleasure, without passion, don't live long. Because without passion, you just don't live long. You don't have a good immune system. So, yeah, there has to be pleasure. But the trick is, holiness means get pleasure from the real thing, not from the distracting thing. So the fact that your mouth loves the crunch of it, that's not why you're going to eat. Yeah. And that's not going to make your choice of what to eat. And the same is true with intimacy. The pleasure of intimacy means the pleasure of losing yourself, not of getting something. The Talmud says that there was a student, a rabbinic student, who was hiding under the bed of his teacher. And when they found him, they said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Being intimate is a mitzvah, and I needed to learn how to do it." The question is like this. If he wanted to know, why didn't he simply ask? Why didn't
Well, it's a very, very taboo subject that's very private.
Exactly. That's why it's better for him to hide under the bed. Now, in the story, when we first heard it as teenagers, we thought, oh, cheap shot. Yeah. Oh yeah, sure, he wants to learn, right? it seems like in the Talmud, this answer was accepted by his teacher as legitimate. Oh, right, okay. Well, if it's acceptable, why is he hiding under the bed?
Because he's intruding upon that intimacy of those two people.
Why didn't he simply say, when are you going to be intimate? I want to come over and...
Because then if there's no longer intimacy between those two people, because now there's a third person involved.
What it tells us is a very important thing. The guy wants to learn how to be intimate, and that's perfectly legitimate. Come and watch. But do it modestly. You see? It's not, we have this impression, I don't know, Victorian morality, that intimacy is nasty. It's an ugly thing. And that's why you don't want anybody watching. To watch is disgusting. Which is why in our society, I don't know, for the last 50, 60, 80, I don't know how many years, to justify or to pretty up what is basically a nasty, ugly thing, we insist that there be some amount of love involved. Right? Having sex without love, oh, that's disgusting. Oh, you love the person. Oh, now it's beautiful. What's beautiful about it? Mm-hmm. It's still a disgusting thing. And if it is a disgusting thing, what do you mean you're doing it with someone you love? You shouldn't. Do it with people you hate. Right? So the expression making love is a perverted thought.
But you love your wife, no?
I'm just saying it's deeper. More than that. It's not.
Why do you have to justify intimacy by calling it love?
Well, because you're saying not to do it when there's anger, when there's distraction, so then you're just feeling a sense of peace and love when you're...
Yeah, but by definition.
It should be good.
Why does it have to be loving? Why does that make it better? In other words, intimacy doesn't need justification.
Yeah, it should.
And if it did need justification, love isn't going to justify it. Let's do something nasty. I love you.
Right, because then you could do a lot of things that truly are like, you know, but I love you, so let's do that. Like,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute, I'm not comfortable with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point being that if intimacy is not itself a holy thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
there's no redeeming it.
Right.
So there is nothing wrong. If the student wants to come and watch, that's fine. But there is this need for modesty,
Right.
because otherwise it ruins the intimacy.
Right. So it's like it's an oxymoron. You can't. Right. Exactly.
So it's not that there's something nasty about it that has to be hidden in the dark.
Right.
And
But then it no longer is what it's meant to be when there's the other person in the room. Right.
so the whole idea of modesty is not because you're embarrassed,
Right. It's to
but
keep-
because you don't want to compromise the intensity of what is really intimate.
The dress is modest too.
So Adam and Eve decided to get dressed because they were ashamed. And everybody thinks, oh, lost their innocence. No. They ate from a tree of knowledge. They gained a knowledge. And they realized that you can't squander your intimacy.